What's up guys, my name is Bart Komar, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how I install this Mr. Cool split unit in my shop to give me heat and AC. Let's do it. Welcome to the Komar project. Alright guys, so we just received our 24K DIY kit from Mr. Cool. And the reason I chose this is because it's a DIY unit, and since I'm not an HVAC guy, I can still do this. I don't have to hire any professionals to come charge the lines. It's got the line set pre-charged, the condenser, the unit itself, and it comes packaged like this on a pallet. So let's start unwrapping everything and get some AC flowing so we don't look like this, because it's hot in here. But first I need something for this thing to sit on, and I'm gonna be doing a concrete pad. So a little bit of mesh, some 2x4s, concrete, and we're good to go. Let's do it. All right, so this unit is for my garage, which is also my workshop, and the best place for it is right on the side of the house. And I have a bush problem back there that needs some addressing. So that was pretty fun with the tractor, but you don't have to clear out any landscaping to install this. I just wanted to get an open area so I can work, and we were gonna get rid of this landscaping anyway, so this seemed like a perfect time. But now I gotta make a form for the pad, and then we're gonna lay out where the actual outside unit, the condenser, is gonna go. To make the form, I'm using some scrap 2x4s that I had laying around. And one thing that I've learned when making concrete forms is that you gotta make sure that your lumber is, well, good lumber. Because if you have chunks missing out of them, the concrete is gonna take its shape. So at least make sure that one side of them is good. Then to give the pad some strength, I found some rebar in the attic and cut it into a grid to make a ladder, which is hopefully gonna keep that pad from cracking in the future. All right, now that we have our frame for the pad made, it's time to start laying out where we're actually gonna set that unit. And we're just gonna use some spray paint and start some digging. I'm not going too deep here because I want this pad to be elevated by a couple of inches. I just needed to take off the top layer of mulch so I can get to the compact ground, so I can put down a couple of bags of gravel to help with the drainage. Then I could level everything out, and I drove in a couple of stakes all the way around this form and secured them with some 3-inch screws. This is not a big pour, but it's always good to make sure that your pad is nice and secure. That way it's not going to move while you're pouring the concrete. All right, that looks good to me. So we're gonna let this thing sit overnight or for 24 hours, and tomorrow we're gonna start working on the inside. Next, I unpacked the air handling unit and took the back mounting plate off so I can put it on the provided wall template and figure out the screw locations. I then marked them on the template and used the punch to put little holes in it so I can transfer those marks onto the wall. Which is super easy because it's gonna go in this corner right here. Next, I leveled out the mounting plate and secured it using the provided screws. Then using a hole saw, which also came with the unit, I drilled through the drywall, and this is where the line set is gonna go outside of the building. All right, so I have drywall, a 2x6 wall, plywood on the other side, and then we have brick. So in order to punch all the way through the brick, really long drill bit, and punch all the way through, so I can guide the hole saw through the outside in. All right, so we've punched through from the inside. And now we're gonna be using a 3.5-inch masonry bit to punch through that brick so that way we can make the connection for all the line sets. Okay. This is gonna take some time. So the masonry bit will only be necessary if you're going through a masonry wall, brick, or cinder block, or anything like that. But if you have regular frame construction, you can just use the hole saw that came with the unit. So it took me about 30 minutes to drill through that brick, but at this point everything was going well and I was ready to set the unit on the pad. And for that you kind of need 2 people because the unit's a little bit awkward for 1 person. And Honey Bunny gave me a hand, we were able to set it right on there. Perfect. Thank you, I love you. You're the bestest. Sexy. That was easy. After sucking up a little bit, I marked the location of the mounting bolts and drilled them with a masonry bit. So the kit comes with these rubber pads that go under the feet of the unit, and this is where I made a mistake. Oh, come on, I'm not gonna be able to grab the thread. Yep, I drove the bolts in too far and I couldn't get the nut on them with the rubber feet in place. So I went without them and we were back in business. Back inside the shop, I gently bent the line set connections on the air handler 90 degrees and used some electrical tape so I can secure all of them together. I'll be honest with you guys, this is where I got a little bit stressed out. I was worried that getting that unit hung on the wall by myself would give me some problems. But in fact, it was actually quite easy. I was able to get the line set and the communication wires right out that hole and snap it right into place. And that's it! And that's how easy it is to install it. Ha! Alright, so let's go back on the other side and hook up the line set. Outside, I slowly bent the line set down and used the provided neoprene to fill the drill hole. The wall sleeve that I received was not long enough for the 12-inch wall that I have, and I didn't want to wait for a new one. So I just filled it with some expanding foam behind the neoprene and placed the cover sleeve on before moving on to the next step, which was hooking up the line sets. I uncoiled about 6 feet of it and matched up the color-coded lines and hand-tightened the nuts. Then I could use the provided wrenches. Yes, they send you wrenches with the kit, and I tightened everything down. Then I did the same exact thing on the line set to the condenser. After making sure everything is nice and tight, I use the Allen wrench and release the refrigerant. This pretty much means that your unit is charged at this point. So to make sure I didn't have any leaks, I just used some soapy water and looked for bubbles. After making sure I didn't have any leaks, I wrapped the connections with sound dampening pads and put on the insulation they provided. I hooked up the drain hose and gave it a good tug, and then I can start working on connecting the line guard. I just used some tap guns to connect it to the wall, made sure everything looked nice and tidy so the neighbors wouldn't be embarrassed of my work, and I was ready for the electrical installation. And for this, I called in the big guns. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Komar Sr., the best electrician with a roofer's card that I know. So while my dad hooked me up with a brand new sub panel for the shop, I try to plot my next move in bending pipe out of the building. Now, I'm not an electrician by any means, and this is why my dad's always around when I'm doing any kind of work like this. But if you're not comfortable doing any of this, go ahead and hire a certified electrician. They will get everything done right for you, and you can be sure that you're not gonna burn your house down. All right, now we're just gonna drill where this pilot hole is with this big old 1-inch bit, and hopefully that'll go smoothly. All right, let's pause it right there, because what comes next is probably the dumbest, the stupidest thing that I have done in a very long time. And if you're a little squeamish, go ahead and skip to the next 30 seconds and keep watching the rest of the installation. But if you're one of those people whose curiosity is overwhelming them right now, here we go. I just fell off the ladder. Oh, never ever stand on the top step of the ladder. Knocked the freaking wind out of me. I think I might need a new ladder. Yeah, it was a little scary. Dumb as they come. All right, let's get back to work. Get back up there, dummy. Just don't trust that one. Okay, so I know I'm gonna catch some slack in the comments about leaving that part in the video, but I wanted to show that no matter what you're doing, even if it's something so repetitive as using a ladder, it can go horribly wrong if you get complacent about safety. In that moment, right before I stepped on top of that ladder, I wasn't thinking that I could fall off and injure myself. I just wanted to complete that task. And that's wrong. So when you're doing something as trivial as ladder work, crossing the street, or using a tool, make sure you take that second and assess the risk that's associated with it. It may be the difference between you getting the job done and ending up in the hospital. Just something to think about. All right, now that I got that off my chest, it's time to get back to the electrical, and this time with some help from Honey Bunny, which is a lot more fun.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, you ready to pull?
Yep.
All right, I'm pulling.
Pull slowly.
Pull slowly, she says.
How's that?
Good job. Ah, hold on.
Did it fall?
Yeah. All right, hold on.
I'm holding.
Resume.
Resuming.
Oh, we're out.
All right, after a couple of laughs and a lot of sweat because it was super hot that day, we were able to pull all the wire necessary for the installation of this unit. I ran everything to the quick disconnect box, which had an on and off fuse in it, and then a whip over to the unit from the quick disconnect. Hope that makes sense. Then according to the instructions, I wired everything up, which was super easy. It was all color coded and numbered. And for me, that's crucial because I'm very visual, and with all the pictures that were in the instruction manual, made this installation so easy that, well, even I could do it. And that says a lot for whoever wrote the instructions. Then I was able to connect the breaker in the sub panel, flip the switch for the first time, and we were pretty much done. The only thing left was to hook up the thermostat, plug in the Mr. Cool smart controller, which allows you to control this unit with your phone, and I was ready to start cooling my shop. I just downloaded the Mr. Cool app, and now I can control this unit from pretty much anywhere. I can change the temperature, set schedules for it to go on and off when I'm in the house or in the shop, check my filter status, and even control the humidity level in the shop, which for me is an absolute game changer. So that's it, guys. We finally have AC in the shop, and I couldn't be happier with the way this Mr. Cool split unit is performing. It's super quiet. I can film videos around it. It cools the shop in a matter of minutes, and the installation, it couldn't get any easier. Well, unless you're counting the fall, which I hope that doesn't happen to you. Yeah, don't do it. So if you guys are interested in this unit or any other unit that Mr. Cool has in their line, go ahead and check out all the links in the description below. And if you have any questions for me, leave those in the comments section and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. I'm not a professional, I'm just like a guy like you and your neighbor. Unless your neighbor's a rocket scientist, then I would ask him. But I'll try to answer those questions for you anyway. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button along with subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell notification. We just purchased this house, so we're gonna have a bunch of content coming out on all the renovations that are happening right now, and I wouldn't want you guys to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me on this experience, and I'll see you guys next time. We're ready for the next step, which is, better not sting me. Don't sting me.
Is that acceptable?
Very acceptable. Ah, something bit me again. So if you guys are, ow, stupid bugs.